Who's here only today to see this gentleman?
Thank you.
If you don't know who this gentleman is, this is Roger Jackson.
Hi, everybody! Woo! Dr. Nick.
You might know him, well, I know him especially as Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls.
Harold and me.
He's the voice of the Scream guy.
Yes, I am.
And like 50 million other different things. He's capable of doing all of them at once.
You'd have to check my IMDb credits or something.
Yeah. So let's get this started. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Jackson? Yes.
Hello, what's your name?
Hi there, my name's Josh.
Hi, Josh.
I wanted to ask, how was work back when you were doing the Scream films back in the late 90s, and then also when it came to working with the, what's it called? The reboot or so, the fourth title with the late Wes Craven?
Yeah, the fourth movie?
Yeah.
Some comparison.
They were all physically done the same. After the first night of filming on the first one, they established the habit that I would be in a space separate. See, on the first night of filming, how many of you have seen the first Scream film? Okay.
Wow.
So you know the opening scene then. For those of you who haven't seen it, you can watch just the opening scene on YouTube. So you know the room that she's in, the part of the house. Right outside the window of the living room, I'm underneath a tiny little awning with a microphone and a little light, holding my paper in my hand with my script, and it's raining. But one of the things about it is real rain is not photographed. It's too small. When you see rain in movies, it's usually special effects. They have to use these machines to generate big enough drops to photograph. So next time you watch the first Scream film and you see the boyfriend all tied up and taped to the chair, you'll notice that he's dripping, though you can't see any rain behind him. So I'm standing outside under this awning, and we're connected by cell phone, but I have a microphone to get a clean recording. And we're going through the whole thing. Who is this? Why, who do you think it is? The whole thing. And they decided then and there, initially the idea was they were just going to have a script person feed Drew Barrymore the lines, which is sort of the usual habit. But she, being the generous actor that she is, decided she wanted an actor to play the scene with, to really act it with. So they were filming in Santa Rosa, which is just north of San Francisco.
Hey, we're in California, I forget that.
So they cast in the Bay Area for an actor just to play the scenes with her. And I got the part. And so we were doing the first night, and they decided then and there, they had intended to just film it and then dub it later in Los Angeles. But Wes and Marianne Magdalena, the producer, liked what I was doing, so they decided to just keep what I was doing. So the second night, when we were filming the same part of the film, I'm in the garage of this house, which belonged to some people who grew grapes up there to sell to some of the local wineries. I'm in the garage of the house, watching the feed, the camera monitor feed, on a little monitor with my script, my mic, and my cell phone. And that's the way we did it from then on, for every movie. I would be off somewhere nearby. Like, once on the fourth movie, when we were doing reshoots, my wife came with me. Say hello, Mom. And it was dead winter. We were filming scenes from the summer, so we're upstairs in this house. And I'm sitting there going, I'm going to rip your throat out, or something like that. My wife is sitting there with her.
Cod, can I get some potato chips in the water, please? Thank you.
And that's the way we went about it for every movie. I'm off to the side, watching what's going on, doing it live on the set with the actors, playing the scene. It became my job to try to scare them. Once we got the script done, then I could try improvising some things, and some of those made them into the film. Like the bit about,
Have you ever felt a knife slice through human flesh and scrape against the bone beneath?
that made it in, and some other stuff. But, that was my job, to get the actors scared. That's probably much more of an answer than you wanted. But
No, but thank you. I appreciate it. That's fantastic.
Thanks,
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm assuming that you have children. Since you did do the voice of Mojo, have you ever had to do that voice for your kids around the house?
Well, I did it for my granddaughter, who broke her arm one summer.
So I sent her a special little email with a little sound file. Jocelyn, I heard that you have broken your arm. You need to be more careful. That is too bad.
I heard she liked it very much. Thank you. What's your name?
Jade?
Thanks, Jane. Thanks for asking.
Any other questions we have? Yeah.
Were you a voice double? What exactly is that? Voice double?
A voice double? I replace other actors' voices when they're too expensive to call in from their homes in Hawaii or Europe or whatever. For example, I've done a lot of work on Liam Neeson. I did some of the original Batman video games as Ra's al Ghul. And I was on the Battleship television ads. And some of the Narnia toys as Aslan. And if you have the Lego video game, that's me, not him. Not in the movie, but in the video game, there. And I've also done Jan Goodman, you know, Sully from Monsters, Inc. I've done him before. And I double voiced Christopher Lee in the Hobbit video games. And who else? Max von Sydow.
I have a little cold right now. I'm not feeling it very good. I apologize.
But that's what you do. Many times actors may be too far away or they're not interested in coming in and doing little line changes or so forth. Or they may be ill, like I've been doing voice substitution for Alan Rickman for Alice Through the Looking Glass, who just passed away. Very fine actor. Real gentleman.
Thank you.
Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Jack.
Jack?
Yeah.
Thanks for asking, Jack.
Any other questions we have?
Who did you appear as in the Legends of Korra?
Pardon?
Who did you appear as in the Legends of Korra?
Who do you appear as what?
In the Legends of Korra, who did you appear as?
Oh, in Legend of Korra?
I'm a monk. Don't do that! It's terrible! You don't want to hurt them!
Yeah, one of the nomads, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Scary movie.
Very complicated answer to that. You mean what's my favorite horror movie? Or
Yeah.
what movie has scared me more than any other movie?
Favorite horror movie?
Well, I can't really tell you because there's so many that I like. The Howling is one of my favorite movies. That's great. Joe Dante is brilliant. The Exorcist still stands up decades later. There's a movie I really like that had, the original version is the one to see with Kim Darby called Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. That was one of the original ABC made-for-television movies. She and Jim Hutton, Tim Hutton's father.
And there are these little things living in the walls of her house. We're going to get her. We'll get her tonight.
scary as hell. Devil's Backbone was great. I haven't seen Crimson Peak yet, and I'm looking forward to it. Diabolique, a marvelous film, if you haven't seen it, the original version.
How many hours do we have for you to list on movies?
You got 45 minutes.
If you've never seen the silent movie, a Swedish film called Haxan, The History of Witchcraft, that's well worth checking out. Haxan. The director plays the devil.
2 roles in the same place. All right, anybody else with questions? Do we not? Yeah, go ahead. Ken.
Sure. Roger, so I know you've done some work with the Telltale people.
Quite a bit of work. What's your
and,
name?
Grant.
Grant. Hi, Grant.
Yeah, hi. And I know you've maybe done some work with Adam Harrington and some of those people.
Yes, Adam's a good pal.
Oh, good. So one of my favorite roles you've done recently was on The Wolf Among Us, as Ichabod Crane.
Oh, it's Ichabod? Yes, that was a lot of fun to do. And he played Tales from the Borderland.
Yeah, you were great too as the stranger.
I really enjoyed that one.
So how did you get involved, though, Roger, with working with the Telltale people, and how has that experience been?
Just like every other actor, you audition, and then they have a committee of people who decide somehow among 20 or 30 people who they want to hire, and you get the part. You know, it's not just your skill set, there's a lot of luck to it too. So both are important. And the Telltale people are great. They're great to work for. Very creative people. A lot of good games come out of Telltale.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
How did you come about becoming a VA? That started.
How did I come about?
Becoming a voice actor.
Well, I started out as a very strange child. I imagine we have a few strange children in here, too. Is that right?
Yeah, you don't have to point.
It's okay. Started out, one of my first interests was puppetry. So that involved acting and doing voices for characters, which led me to become an actor and a commercial artist, puppeteer. And after 20-something years as a commercial artist, having been an actor, I decided what I'd really like to do is animation. I love cartoons, the modern equivalent, which is video games and so forth. And, but I knew I didn't know the business. I didn't know how to make a demo tape. I didn't know how to approach an agent. There were a lot of technical things I didn't know. So a school opened up in the Bay Area called Voice Tracks San Francisco. And I went to an introductory class and started studying, and studied a lot. All the different video or voice disciplines, because there are quite a few, from animation to commercial, promo, narration. And a lot of times agents are teaching the classes because they're scouting for talent. So I was like, I've got an agent, and I got a better agent, so forth and so on. And if you're interested, how many of you watch American Dad? Or do you know who D. Bradley Baker is?
Yeah.
On American Dad, D is
Klaus the fish, the German scientist's brain in the body of a little goldfish.
he has put together a website called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. And he has all the information available there about what you need to do to find a way to study how to be a voice actor. Great guy. Highly recommend the site.
Any other questions? Yes.
So, when you said absolutely your favorite horror movie, which one did scare you the most?
Titicut Follies, a documentary. What's your name?
Taylor.
Hi, Taylor. Are you familiar with Frederick Wiseman? A great documentarian. He had a recent film that premiered on PBS. He usually does films on institutions, like he did one on the police, the Comédie Française in France, the Ballet Corps de Ballet in France. One of his earliest films from the 60s was Titicut Follies, about the hospital for the criminally insane in Massachusetts. And as you watch this film, it's very difficult to see who are the insane, the warders or the prisoners.
All right. So, any other questions? Before I go into, I have kind of a few questions here.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay. If you have a question, just raise your hand at any time, and I'll ask. Okay. So, so Roger, if you could do it all over again, knowing what you know now as an actor, voice actor, would you still choose the same path?
The same path.
The same path. So, would you choose to continue this legacy that you've brought us?
Yes, I'm quite happy about how I've gotten where I've gotten, and I hope to go to other places even better. If you're not trying to rise, you'll automatically drift down. It's just the way of the world. And so a certain amount is out of your hands, and a certain amount takes your effort. I think the best definition I ever heard of luck was when preparation meets opportunity. So you gotta be ready. And I try to be ready. Practice all the time. The greatest musicians in the world never stop learning scales every day. That's something I try to keep in mind. That's why I annoy my wife and all my friends by going around and hear voices on the street. What are you doing? Well, there was this German guy over here. I'm trying to put his accent down in my head. Get that down. Or like one of our family favorites is we were at a theater in London, and there was a guy behind us who was sneezing. And I was trying to remember this. My wife said, "You heard it?" Yeah, because this guy was sneezing like. So I'm quietly trying to go. So I can physically remember the sound of this by putting it into me. So I'm imitating things constantly, just like I did when I was a strange 4-year-old.
Thank you. Any other? Yes?
Can anyone be a voice actor, or you have to have like some innate ability?
What's your name? What's your name? Maura? Hi, Maura. Well, I like what I like to say is it's about the acting. It's not the voice. Because it's about the control of technique. Even whether you're doing promo, like, you know, Paul Thomas Anderson, the great director, his dad was Ernie Anderson, who back in the 70s was the Love Boat tonight on ABC. You know, he was the king of promo in the 1970s. That's all he did was promo. It's not the voice, it's the control of your technique, whatever discipline it is you pursue. Now there are some voice actors who switch between different voices and do a lot of different characters. And there are some actors who only have one voice, but are brilliant at doing different characters, like one of my favorites, H. John Benjamin, who was Archer on Archer. He's Bob on Bob's Burgers. You know, it's the same voice, but he's so many different characters. So again, it's not about the voice, it's about the acting. Does that answer, Mark? Okay, thanks.